No competition like no I in my team. No, all they wishful thinking, or is it a nice dream? And we can see him coming, no need for high beam. Decision making, change a player, just do the right thing. Wasn't with me in the gym, so how can you contest? On the hilltop and ran many miles to be the.
Welcome to Post Point with your host, Winton McCullough. Hey, it's time to talk some sports, y'all. I'm glad you decided to talk some sports with me. You know, all I do is try to put people on. A few days ago, I posted a video about Jason Tatum. Now, minus the injuries, I wish him a speedy recovery. Everything I said came to fruition in Game 4 versus the Knicks. You should start paying attention to what I'm talking about, because I don't got time for what other people be talking about all the time. Were they talking about fiction or they talking about fact? They talking about fiction? Hold up. Pardon my back. Enough talk about that. Let's start the show.
Don't know what team I'm on, but I'm like, how you see my chest? Look, my uniform, I'm having it proudly way I'm dressed. The more I'm getting better, me more you getting worse. And thinking we competing, but not the same verse.
What if I told you there was an NBA player who had a commercial nicknaming him the landlord because he owned every arena that he went to? This same landlord was endorsed by his heiress, Michael Jordan. With this quote I found at basketballnetwork.com, Jordan was being interviewed by Craig Sager, and Sager asks, Jordan, who are the toughest guys you had to play against? Jordan said, now, Sprewell guards me as well as anybody.
Meet Mr. Sprewell. The man owns both ends. The man owns so much court, we call him the landlord. Nice kick spree. Cons, baby. Baseline Seattle owns three-point land in Phoenix. Owns it. The Garden. San Antonio owns it. Tell him about Orlando. Owns it. Owns it. The landlord is coming to your house. Time to pay the rent.
For all my 2K fans out there, check out Latrell Sprewell attributes. He's an explosive athlete, a speed demon, a two-way player. He didn't have Kyrie handles, but his handle would be about an 85 with a few silver badges and a Hall of Fame quick first step badge. He was a 3-level scorer as well as a slasher. I didn't like Sprewell when I was young because in barbershop talk, they tried to compare him to Jordan. I thought that was a bit premature even at an early age. And you know how barbershop talk goes.
Hey, I ain't saying Clay ain't bad. I'm just saying I stopped liking Cash Clay once he changed his name to Muhammad Ali.
Wait a second. A man has the right to change his name to whatever he wants to change it to. And if a man wants to be called Muhammad Ali, this is a free country. You should respect his wishes and call the man Muhammad Ali.
His mama named him Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay. Mm-hmm. That's right. I say Clay.
Get out of here.
That's right. He gonna always be Clay to me.
But I saw Sprewell brilliance in the 1999 playoffs in a historic run with the New York Knicks. Sprewell and Allen Houston were options 1A and 1B for the Knicks. He also had a run in Minnesota with KG and the Timberwolves, where you saw KG have his best years in Minnesota with Sprewell. Sprewell would go on these runs where he couldn't be stopped, running off anywhere from 9 to 15 points in a row by himself. Then he would go back on the other end of the floor and get stops on the defensive end. Sprewell was a baller and a hooper, yet he doesn't get mentioned when you talking about top wings or top shooting guards. Not the top 10, but, you know, maybe top 20. He's definitely up there because during his playing career, he was always at the top of the list. He doesn't get the recognition he deserves, and I want to give him his flowers now by making Latrell Sprewell the Flashpoint hero of the day.
And solo dolo, we been went on one accord. Who y'all think the hardest in this litty world of sports? Win the championship and why not go to Disneyland? We can change our plans like we can go and spend some bands. Yep.
Today on Hit 'em Up, I want to address something that's baffling to me. It's a long lost art in the NBA, ball handling. Yeah, I said ball handling. When I was coming up, you know, they had hand checking, so it made the degree of difficulty higher to play basketball. So in order to dribble the ball, you had to be nice with it. So if you was a point guard, it was almost a requirement that you have very good to great ball handling skills. Now that they taken hand checking away, well, when they did take hand checking away, you saw guys like Blake Griffin bringing the ball up the basketball court. And he was boogieing on dudes. Not because he all of a sudden had a better handle, but he had space and opportunity. That's what these rules allow for players. Space and opportunity. And NBA players, basketball players who want to make it to the NBA, they train for the NBA. If the degree of difficulty is not that high to dribble the basketball, there's no need to work with your ball handling that much. You work with something else, shooting, which is a high demand in the NBA today. You have two elite ball handlers, Stephen Curry, Kyrie Irving. It's been like that for a while. Like, nobody has entered that conversation at all. When those dudes retire, you're going to see a decline in ball handling. But when I was coming up, it was different. You had guys like Steve Francis, Baron Davis, Allen Iverson, Michael Jordan, Rajon Rondo, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Tracy McGrady, Jason Kidd, John Stockton. I'm going to stop right there. But I could keep going. The thing here is the league was filled with ball handlers, and the degree of difficulty of dribbling was so high that if you wasn't a wing with a nice handle, Grant Hill had a nice handle, again, Tracy McGrady, Penny Hardaway, Scottie Pippen, all of these guys can handle the basketball, consider point forwards in some cases. Penny was a point guard, but if you didn't have a nice handle, you had to get the ball to the point guard. Somebody got a rebound. If they couldn't bring the ball up the court, they got the ball to the point guard. That's how things was. That brings me to the playoffs. Golden State Warriors, well, two teams, Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics. One, Stephen Curry got hurt. Again, we acknowledge Curry's greatness when it comes to handling the basketball. But once he got hurt, the other players on the team, they couldn't create a shot for themselves. Now, you got a point forward in Draymond Green, and you got Jimmy Butler, but Draymond is not creating a shot for itself. I mean, if he have an open lane or something like that, he could see the angle, he'll take it, but he ain't about to boogie and probe in the lane and find people like that. Jimmy Butler, you know, he's a smart basketball player. He can handle the basketball, but that ain't his game neither. So once Stephen Curry went out, that was one of the biggest reasons the Timberwolves just ran over Golden State, because they didn't have, once in the playoffs, you're not always going to be able to get into your offense. So you need your superstars to create a shot for themselves, or you need a big that you could just, or a post player, somebody who could play in the post like a Jalen Brunson, that you could throw them on the block and they could get a bucket. Golden State didn't have that. No shot creation. Let's talk about Boston. Boston superstars, their best players, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, dribbling is not what they do. You can see it. It's evident. When it's time to boogie, when they got a probe, when the defense is set and focused on them, and the offense, they can't get into an offense where the offense is going to get them a look, the offense is going to get them an angle, they can't operate. They get the deer in the headlights thing, you know what I'm saying? So we got to stop talking about how the skill set of today's players is so elite. I wouldn't say they're so elite. I would say the degree of difficulty has changed, which brings me to Ant-Man. Ant-Man was in the same category last year when they played Dallas in the Western Conference Finals. He didn't want the smoke late in the game because it was on him. The team was giving him the ball, and they said create a shot. There was no offense being ran for him, and the angles and everything wasn't schemed up. It was up to him, and he couldn't operate. But you see him now, this dude is boogieing and pulling up from three. Like, it ain't nothing, which shows that he worked on his game in the offseason, which shows that if you work on your game, your handle can improve, especially when you're somebody, superstars, it's vital that you have a handle. The game of basketball is going to let you know what it needs from you. Back when LeBron was coming up, when he got put out, Magic Johnson spoke on this. LeBron has to get a post game. LeBron really didn't play for the post. It wasn't his game. He wasn't putting his back to the basket and operating. But in that day and time, for a superstar like LeBron, that was vital to have. What he did in our offseason, he worked on his post game. What he did when he came back, won the chip. We ain't even going to get into King James right now. But these guys got to take a step back. You know, these so-called superstars, so-called face of the leagues, yo, stop doing all this shooting and really get in the gym and work on your game, your full game. Stop relying on what's available to you. You know, get a real bag.
Win the championship and why not go to Disneyland? We can change our plans like we can go and spend some bands. Yep. I'm a team player, so a loser's not a fan. No. The holiday season, watching sports with my fans. No competition like no I in my team. Nah. Are they wishful thinking or is it a nice dream? And we can see them coming, no need for high beam. Decision making, change a player, just do the right thing.
All right, so today on Freeway, I want to touch on a head coach that he doesn't get recognized like the Grant Popovich, the Tyronn Lues, the Eric Spoelstras, Rick Carlisle. Rick Carlisle has been a dominant, not good. Rick Carlisle has been a dominant head coach since he came in. I'm familiar with Rick Carlisle being a Piston fan. He got that going to work Pistons team that won in 2004. He jump-started that team. When you had guys like Chucky Atkins and Rip Hamilton, Carlos Williamson, Tayshaun Prince, Chauncey Billups eventually came in. These guys were unsung heroes, and Rick Carlisle basically was able to give these guys direction. Now, Joe Dumars was the GM, so it was his direction too, but Rick Carlisle got these guys going, and it showed once he was replaced by Larry Brown. In 2004, Larry Brown won the chip with the Pistons, but then Rick Carlisle went to the Pacers. And that year when the Pistons won, the Indiana Pacers had the best record in the league. This is the same year as the Hall of Fame Lakers with Gary Payton, Karl Malone, Kobe, and Shaq. Yet the Pacers was the #1 team in the league. And to be honest, I was more worried about, in the playoffs, I was more worried about the Pacers than I was the Lakers. The Pacers were just that good. And that they were good. They continued to be good during Rick Carlisle's stint with the Pacers. Now, after he was with the Pacers, he went and had a run with the Dallas Mavericks. And we know what he did to King James and them boys in Wade County and them boys in 2010. That was a large part of Rick Carlisle, scheming things up, putting J.J. Barea in a position to exceed. That continued. They continued to have good seasons. He continued to help the Dallas Mavericks stay relevant after that championship season. Then Luka, it wasn't a good deal with Carlisle and Luka. They let him go. He goes to the Pacers. They've been in the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row. This team, you'll be hard-pressed to find another coach, even as top coaches up there, that could do what Rick Carlisle is doing right now with the Pacers. They wouldn't be able to do what Rick Carlisle is doing. Rick Carlisle gives you identity. He's adjustable. He's able to take what you do good and build a system around it. And Detroit, it was more defense. Detroit was offensively challenged, yet he was able to win games, came up short in the Eastern Conference Finals back then. He goes to Dallas. Dallas was a very good team. They had everything you need. They had a #1 option, Dirk. They had a shooter, Peja Stojakovic. They had a lockdown defender, Deshaun Stevenson. They had a floor general, Jason Kidd. They had a rim protector, a communicator, an anchor, and Tyson Chandler. They had a hybrid uber athlete that can run in transition and defend wings and Sean Merritt. They had everything you need. A lot of coaches would have took that team would have won a championship with that team, especially against that great Miami team. Rick Carlisle was a big reason why. So we gotta put Rick Carlisle up there when we talking about the top head coaches in the NBA. That's going to do it for another episode of Post Point. I want to thank you for rocking with your boy. You know what to do. Follow him on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Until next time, peace.
Limited bit. Who better? I think we're better. We're cutting the hardest. You know what I'm saying? Y'all.